Good evening, you're very welcome to the Daily Rundown with me, Fiona Fox. Now tonight on the programme we'll have a chat with David Winnard about urban foraging and we'll chat about the big stories of the day. But to get us started, let's introduce our lovely guest this evening. Comedian Mr. Mike Milling is with us again. Good evening, Mr. Mike Milling.
Hello.
How are you? Haven't seen you in a while.
Yes,
You've been good? You've been good?
I've been okay.
Nice Easter?
It was, yeah.
Egg hunting and all that kind of thing, was it?
Yeah, plenty of eggs. Yeah, chocolate eggs, not just eggs.
Good, very good. And it's his first time on the couch, radio DJ and New Zealander, Stu Tolan.
New Zealander. Hi, how you going?
I don't know what I was going to do, like a New Zealandish or something like that. Very exciting to have somebody new here with us. Not that we don't love having you here all the time, Mike, as well.
Thanks a lot,
Of course. Lots of chat ahead. We're expecting big things from you.
Oh, no pressure. Looking forward to it. Glad to be here.
I know you like a bit of a chat. Right, you can also get involved at home if you want to. You can tweet us at the Daily Rundown if you so wish. Right, let's go into our first news story. EgyptAir flight MS-181 was taken over by a passenger claiming to be wearing a suicide belt today. Airline officials later said they had been told by Cypriot authorities that the belt was fake. The hijacker's motives remain unclear, but the Cypriot president said the incident was not terrorism related. No one was injured in the hijacking and the man has been arrested since. Were you following the story today, gentlemen?
I was following this, and I was following this as it kind of developed on the way to work, and it was really confusing. I wasn't sure what was going on, or whether it was real, or whether it was fake, but as soon as you kind of hear that word terrorism, you just kind of start to panic, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately we hear it too often. Obviously here, we talk about it too often in here. This kind of felt different to me though. It felt like a little bit more like a throwback to the 80s or something. You know, just someone's got on a plane, he's hijacked. Do you know what I mean?
Classic hijacking. Yeah, hijacking was better in the 80s. I agree, it was. I mean, we can only go back to the heyday of hijacking.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
No, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you have that kind of feeling for you?
Yeah. Well, again, I'm
looking for more in my terrorism stories now. This is the thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know, like everyone, I just don't know what's going on really. Yeah. And I think that was the whole thing with the media as well throughout the day. No one really knows what's going on. You've got these different little stories and back. I mean, what they said it was possibly about a woman, and it was a personal thing. And then they were saying something about releasing female prisoners or something. Yeah,
Egyptian
possibly
female
it is political.
Is that right? Was it? Sorry, I thought it was you told us that one.
Well, that was reported, wasn't it?
That was reported. Yeah. These two different things were reported, and you know, and then if it's political, if it's about prisoners, then it's terrorism. But you know, what is it about?
I think, is there kind of a feeling sometimes when we're getting mixed reports that something's been covered up? I think people kind of come to that conclusion, don't they, sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely. Or we just get overexcited. You know, like suddenly they see a plane, they see an issue with the plane, so suddenly it is terrorism. But if it was over a relationship, I'm no relationship expert, but that is not the best way to try and get your wife back, or it's not going to work out for you.
The reports were there, I mean, his ex-wife did show up. His wife was Cypriot, I believe. The guy in the story, the man in the
this
centre.
is real life. Just remember that.
In the centre of the situation is Egyptian. Yeah. So she did actually show up, I guess, in some kind of negotiator capacity, perhaps, or was that answering one of his demands? We don't know.
I want my wife. I want us. We shouldn't joke about it, but it's
we shouldn't joke. We're more
imagine being
the
people on the plane, like being on that plane, like that would be the scariest experience of your life.
And you say that, not joking about it, but was it the Cypriot president or someone?
It was their prime minister.
Who was it? Right, that laughed it off, sort of, and said that because someone in the audience, a journalist or whatever, asked, is this actually, because he said it's not about terrorism, and said, is this about a woman? And he said isn't everything, you know, like a little joke. Everyone had a laugh about it. I thought he was going to do a stand-up routine, you know, stuff about his mother-in-law.
Throw mother-in-law jokes into the mix. I mean, brighten up the day or something.
Too soon, you know, they're still on there.
And if you're saying that, Mike, to be fair, you know, as a comedian, as a professional. And a bit of casual sexism as well there by a man, to be fair.
Just to lighten the mood.
Yeah, I feel sorry for the passengers, and even when you see the crew members like hanging outside the cockpit window, just like trying to jump out, you're like, this is serious, you know. Like the guy wasn't a terrorist, but at the end of the day, he was on a plane. And
I'm glad you brought us back. I'm glad you reined us in there, Stu, to be fair. I'm glad you did know, because it obviously was a very serious situation. And anything that happens on a plane is amplified, you know, no matter what. I was on a flight a few months ago that had to be brought down at a different airport because there was a smell of burning on the plane.
Oh, really?
And honestly, when we got off the flight, it was going to Mexico, and it actually landed in Minneapolis. And we were met by 3 fire engines.
Oh,
like, until we got to the ground, we didn't know that it was serious even. It was only at the last second that we actually smelled the smell. And it's like, oh, some people have thought there might be a smell of burning, but when it hit us, it was like, it's like burning plastic, the worst kind of burning smell that you imagine, I suppose, would be on a plane. But the feeling, I think, of panic in any way on a plane, I mean, I think if there was even just a hint that this is anything to do with terrorism, it must just be unbelievable. It must just be unbearable, really, in those moments. I mean, you know, I nearly lost my mind there just because I got the smell of burning, and we landed in 10 seconds. 10 seconds later, though, at this point, it was all very calm, and, you know, even kind of claustrophobia and stuff like that on a plane, I think it just feels worse, doesn't it?
But because of the society we're in now, and all the stuff that's happened in the recent past, you know, 9/11 and everything like that, obviously, as you say, it's just everything's heightened and, pardon the pun, on a plane. I can't, sorry. They're heightened because they're in the air. No, but all tensions are heightened and stuff because everyone's so much more nervous now to get on a plane, to get in an airport. Yeah. And we've got to talk about what about the security? How did he get on this plane with what looked like a bomb vest?
Exactly. Well, I mean, they're breaking, they're just embarrassing us all, the security these days, aren't they? They're making us upend everything, take things apart, take batteries out of our laptops. How does he get on with what looked like? I mean, it's been established that it's fake, though.
It is fake, but it did look real, apparently.
Yes. Yeah. And if you're on a plane and someone does that, you know, you're not going to examine it, are you?
Well, no. Hold on for a second. Let's just check this out. Hold on. No, that's the D model. I was after the C model.
Exactly. So
we just don't want to get to the stage where we have to go through the security checks to get on trains or anything like that. You know, like it's hard enough just to board a flight. It takes you an extra 3 hours. So.
Do you think it's heading that way?
Well, you know, things like this continue. It's gonna, isn't it?
We have already obviously had that train where the 2 US Marines tackled the guy on the train. It was in Paris, wasn't it? So we've had that, and he did have weapons on the train. So,
right.
Do you think maybe we will end up going in that direction?
Well, I really hope we don't. I really hope we don't. But it could just, you know, is it just a natural kind of, you know, progression of security measures need to be kind of stepped up in these places with what's been going on in the world? Yeah.
Would it make you kind of think twice about flying, even though this weekend, or if you had to, or?
If you've got to fly, you got to fly. You know the risks. It's just panic a bit more.
Do you think that we're desensitised a little bit, though, that actually, yes, this will be, you know, this is what's happened this week, but, you know, when you're booking your holidays now in a couple of weeks for the weekend, or, you know, you want to pop home or something, you won't be thinking about this at all, will you?
I don't think you, I think...
This is the world we live in.
Yeah, I think you kind of, you know, you're used to it now, you know these things happen, there's a risk taking a flight, there's a risk, you know, driving a car, there's a risk walking to work. It's just part of life, you can't really live scared, can you?
My partner and little baby are going... Without me, they're not leaving me. Don't
hijack the plane.
I mean, they might have, I don't know, I'm here. But they're going to Spain on a plane, and, you know, and obviously on a plane, not getting catapulted. No, they're on a plane, and so that makes me nervous straight away, because I hear this, because you hear this stuff, you see this stuff in the media, and it's going to make you on edge.
On a personal level, and you would sort of worry, you would kind of worry from that point of view. And what do you think, kind of, I don't know, going forward, like how this was reported today? I mean, as I know we started off with this, it was very bizarre, though, wasn't it? So we don't know if it was a lack of information, or if there is something going on the ground there. Do you think that just kind of adds to the general feeling of fear that we're sort of living in at the hands of the media, maybe?
I think as well, the times we live in now with social media, with our phones and everything, we get the information a lot of time instantly and before the information is confirmed. And it's a lot of, you know, everyone's a reporter these days, aren't they? Everyone's, you know, telling you the news story. And so, I just, what I felt today, especially being on the radio, it was kind of like once everyone realised that it wasn't a terrorism, you know, attack, it was like we were kind of almost let down a bit. It was kind of like, oh God, that's a bit not a shame, but it was like, I was like, really? Like, what's going on here? Like, this should be a good thing that it wasn't, you know.
What does that say then? What does that say about what's our reaction? What's going on with us that's our reaction now?
We're used to terrorism, I guess.
Is that what it is?
Really horrible thing, but
are we expecting it?
Yeah, and then exactly. And if something happens on a plane that's not related to terrorism, you're like, what's going on? What could
it be? And as it turns out, we think it's like is an ex-wife. It's potentially an ex-wife acrimonious breakup situation. And we were saying this earlier, I mean, you must have seen Falling Down.
Yes, with Michael Douglas.
Yeah, I mean, this guy obviously hasn't. I mean, you know how it ended. Like, it didn't end well for the guy.
No.
Well, I mean, is this kind of an extreme take me back
it's not going to work out for him. So I can't imagine them cuddling up in the bed tonight going, hey, how was your day, honey? How did that work out for you?
But it'd be interesting to hear what this thing is about the female prisoners. It was just something that's come out about him saying...
Did you see that as we were coming in? Did you just catch that on a report? Because I actually missed that one.
That was that was the other reports. There was one report saying that it was to do with a woman, and then there were other people saying that he was talking about releasing female prisoners from somewhere, and then that's political, and then that's obviously handled as terrorism. But no one's clear of what actually it's all about, whether it is just about this woman or whether it was something more political, and maybe, I don't know, you know.
Oh, is this going to be one of those stories that in a week's time it's going to develop and develop, and
so it could
be here next week going, whoa!
That is something completely different, which is kind of what happened with the German wings that time. Yeah, you know, when we thought that was just a crash, first of all, but when it turned out it was the pilot, and it's horrible when actually, obviously it's horrible to begin with, but when it sort of seems to be something completely different to what we thought it was, it's very shocking, or adds to it more.
And we can talk about it now, but then like at any point, in the future, tomorrow, it may just come out completely different to what we're thinking. So, you know.
But then everyone goes, it's a cover-up or whatever, you know. But I mean, obviously, to go back, if it is, obviously if it is to do with the release of prisoners, that is an act of terrorism, so we can go back to the original reaction, which was, terrorism in
There's no way about it, is there really?
Oh, not in that way, obviously, but like, yes, we were right, that's what it was, it's more kind of...
Well, I just, like, this man scared a lot of people, he put a lot of people out today, he caused absolute chaos at an airport, I presume. You know what it's like at an airport at the best of times, so he should be dealt with in the way that, you know, someone who does those crimes should be dealt with.
Should be anyway, brilliant. Okay, thanks very much for that, gentlemen. We're going to go for our first break of the evening. Don't go anywhere, we've got lots more news, and our special guest is coming up as well. See you soon.